we can see in Genesis 1, the the very beginning point, um, where Elohim is the invisible God. So you're we're dealing with a singular point in which the universe is coming out from, is expanding out from, and emerging into the universe that we see, and the planet Earth and the heavens and all life on Earth emerges from that same point. It's the same well of potential that is at the beginning, that's also at the end. Um, Jesus, from Revelation 1, you have the emerging of the universe from this well of potential, the heavens and the earth, the 7 days of creation. And then Elohim rests on the Sabbath. Elohim is in a perfect state of rest, of perfect oneness and being with the entire universe. The entire universe is flowing at this point in Tov or Tau. Elohim says it is very exceedingly good. It is exceedingly Tau, meaning all things have merged into one. All things that emerged from the original source, from the wellspring, have come into their being and purpose and rested in God. So Elohim is one with the universe itself. That's the idea of the perfect oneness in the beginning. That's why it talks about the serpent coming and bringing in that knowledge that fractures that oneness, because they're no longer, Adam and Eve are no longer operating in just the pure law of the universe, in the natural order and the natural chi of the self, of the body, of the being, and the life force, and the desires of the purpose of creation in the being. Now you have people acting in forms of religion, acting in forms of obedience to another individual's concepts being projected onto them. This forms the judgments and accusations of the serpent. The serpent is the accuser of the brethren day and night, 24/7, constantly. So those, that initial fall from the pure grace of the way of the initial singular constant flow of reality of Elohim was lost in the fall, in the fallen world and God, and then the fall happened and the world became corrupted, and of course God reset the whole world through Noah. Noah represents the new reset, and then the Babylonian system was created, which corrupted the world again. So by introducing some of the same knowledge and the same ideas, so the knowledge just crept back in again, and finally, in all the attempts of man to control the world in this type of knowledge, it's in the end you see Eden restored, Revelation chapter 22. So it goes through the layers of the conscious being, the seven seals, and then the judgments, and then the seven horns and seven eyes of the Lamb being sent out from the throne. Jesus is going to the throne to replace the old Adam, the one that fell. He's the new Adam. So you have a polarity happening here. You have the shift from the old Adam, from the perfection, the perfect order in Eden, to the old Adam who fell, to the new Adam who rose from the grave, rose into heaven, and then restores Eden. So you have in the beginning you have the wellspring and you have Eden, and in the end you have Eden and you have the wellspring. It's a loop. We're looking at this perfect constant wellspring that remains the same throughout the entire creation. So it's never moved. It's never changed. It's never gone anywhere. That initial wellspring, that point at the very beginning, like Jesus talks about with the statement, "Look, I am coming soon. My reward is with me. I will give to each person according to what they have done." So, and I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end point. I am at the. So he's standing at the beginning and the end. He's achieved that oneness with the wellspring, which has always been there from the beginning to the end. So it's always at the center. That you can picture this center being everywhere. This center is at the center of it's at the center of the Big Bang. It's at the center of the universe. It's at the center of every galaxy. It's at the center of the Earth. It's at the center of the solar system, center of the Earth, the center of Eden, the center of the tree of life, and the center of man, and the center of woman. This center is always there. It's always present. The center is always you could have the center goes out and expands into everything. There's the center of everything, and then there's a center of the center. So you always enter the circle, and then the center of the circle, which is the throne room in Revelation. Your John is slowly entering into that circle, where he sees the 24 elders, who are also observing the center, and then the 4 cherubim who are observing the center, and then the throne itself, where the Father is having the scroll, where the Ancient of Days is with the scroll, who was and is to come. So we see that the opening of the wellspring is the source of infinite potential that has always been, that was, is, and is to come. So it's all merging into one, as the wellspring has always actually been present through all of time and all of creation. The Spirit and the bride say, "Come." Let the one who hears say, "Come." Let the one who is thirsty come, and let one who wishes take from the free gift of the water of life. That's the wellspring right there. It's a free gift, and it's the infinite waters of life. So it's always free, and it's always present. It's like I said, that's the substance and the source behind everything in creation that emerged all of creation. And we now have Jesus, the new Adam, drawing us back into Eden, back into the tree of life, and then back to the very constant source, the wellspring of life itself, the water of life. And then I warn everyone who hears of the words of the prophecy of the scroll. If anyone adds anything to them, God will add to that person the plagues described in the scroll. And if anyone takes away from the scroll of prophecy, God will take away from that person any share of the tree of life in the holy city, which is described in the scroll. He who testifies to these things says, "Yes, I am coming soon." So it's very clear that this is the final, ultimate revelation of all things, of the whole universe, of all creation. This wellspring and this opening of the scroll and the wellspring and the revealing of the infinite power of God to all of mankind is found within this text and in this scroll. And the answers to all things. It makes it clear that this is the healing of all the nations. The tree of life bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month, so perpetually, 24/7. We have a return to the 24/7 Edenic life coming, and then we have the return to every individual finding the same infinite source, drawing from the same infinite source, drawing from the tree of life, and drawing from the wellspring of life. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of all the nations. So as it's stated in this text, that the world will be healed by this very thing, by this very understanding of Eden restored, of the restoration of, and not the physical Eden, but the metaphysical Eden, the structure of the universe itself, the wellspring being present everywhere, being present in all of us, and being accessible to all people. That's the key, and it says they will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. Again, metaphysical concepts. There will be no more night, so the constant awareness of day, the constant awareness of that eternal day, the eternal yom, the eternal eon of God, of the Sabbath rest, where all things become one. So Sunday through Saturday, the beginning of creation to the end of creation, all merges into one at this point of realization, where we realize what the wellspring now, fully makes contact through all of history and all of the universe and into man, and then into the heart, and then into all of the creation once again, where everything is restored and everyone is in constant day 24/7, walking with Elohim in that cool of the day, as was in Eden. So this is a taking us back to that very same presence. They will not need the light of a lamp or the light of the sun, for the Lord God will give them the light, and they will reign forever and ever. So that's the internal light, the inner light, flowing out from within us, the realization that this light is deeper substance than the sun, it's deeper substance than fire, it's deeper substance than the stars and the sun. This light indeed goes back to the very beginning of creation, to the beginning of the Big Bang, to the beginning of the universe, before there was any suns, before there was any stars, before there was any tangible light that we see. This light is the deepest, crystal clear well of light and of all creation. It's the awareness of that wellspring and that presence, um, in all things and through all things, becoming all in all, um, and allowing each person um, to become one with that as well.